We good, Dave? The November 24th, 2025 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bonnick.
Here.
Ms. Bonnick is present. Mr. Vecchio Hoffman.
Present.
Mr. Vecchio Hoffman is present. Chairwoman Hugh Smith.
Here.
Chairwoman Hugh Smith is present. Mr. Mafucci.
Here.
Mr. Mafucci is present. Ms. McIntyre.
Here.
Ms. McIntyre is present. Mr. Morris.
Here.
Mr. Morris is present. Mr. Sinclair.
Here.
Mr. Sinclair is present.
Thanks. I'd just like to open with a very brief moment of reflection and some words uttered, attributed to a lot of different people, actually. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. Thank you. Next is the public forum. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak, but who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing none, that concludes the public forum. I would like to introduce Jennifer Cesario, Chief Financial Officer of Monroe County, who is here to present the 2026 proposed Monroe County budget as it pertains to the Environment and Public Works Committee. We will have a question and answer period following the presentation, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name. No. Okay.
Good evening. Wait till the presentation comes up. All right, so Environment and Public Works focuses on two departments within the county. That's aviation and environmental services. The budgets for these two departments represents just under 9% of total county spending. 2026, oh, you can, sorry. Oh, that's last year. I think that's last year's presentation.
Sure. There's Bob saying.
Dave, what this up?
They never loaded it there. That's what the web. Committees. Sure. Committees.
Oh, excuse.
Whoop.
All right. You can go to that page. Okay. So, Environment and Public Works focuses on two departments, the airport and environmental services. The proposed 2026 budget is an increase of $2.9 million over the 2025 adopted budget, with increases in both aviation and pure waters. Solid waste, engineering, and fleet maintenance budgets are either flat or have slight reductions in spending. Next. Moving to the airport specifically, airport's budget is increasing 5.1% or $1.4 million over the 2025 adopted budget. Salaries and benefits account for $871,000 of that increase. Also increasing is interdepartmental charges in the amount of $606,000. of which $467,000 of that $606,000 increase is directly related to the Sheriff's Department chargeback to the airport for security. And again, that's mostly salary and benefit related. Other changes within aviation include a $148,000 increase in contractual services. That's consists of $100,000 in an increase for electricity and $58,000 increase in commercial services. Debt service for the airport is decreasing by $198,000. And I'm pretty sure you all know this, but I'm just going to point out that the county receives 100% reimbursement from the airport authority. So there's zero net county cost to taxpayers. Moving on to DES and solid waste. Net county support is decreasing by $1 million. Our plan for the last few years was to eliminate solid waste due to the general fund. And we had planned to eliminate that within the next 2 years. However, we lowered the subsidy this year by $1 million because our budgetary position really just couldn't support maintaining the subsidy at $2 million. So again, this budget, we had to make some difficult decisions, and this was one of those decisions that we felt we had to make. On a positive note, solid waste operations continues to do well, and both the accumulated deficit that we see in solid waste and the amount due back to the general fund should be eliminated in the next 3 to 4 years. Elsewhere in the solid waste budget, total appropriations decreased by $70,000. Some notable changes within the solid waste budget include $300,000 reduction to cash capital funding. And as a side note, for every department that budgets cash capital, there were some tough decisions we had to make this year. So cash capital is reduced in many counties' budget, many departments' budgets this year. There's also a $124,000 decrease in debt service, a $300,000 increase to contractual services, largely related to solid waste transfer contracts, and a $49,000 increase to salaries and benefits related to collective bargaining increases and normal step increases. Moving on to DES, engineering, sustainability, and facilities. As per Resolution 343 of 2022, we continue to budget the committed fund balance of $1 million for climate initiatives. Other highlights within the facilities budget, salaries and benefits increased $778,000 related to, again, collective bargaining agreement increases and benefits, so medical and pension increases. And we also have an addition of 5 full-time equivalents, 3 building service workers, 1 supervising building service worker, and 1 maintenance mechanic, 2, as we plan on taking over the maintenance of the St. Paul building in the 4th quarter of 2026. Offsetting some of those increases there is a vacancy factor that was applied in the amount of 8%. Other notable changes within the budget for facilities is a $720,000 decrease in contractual services, mostly related to utilities at the Iola Powerhouse, and an increase of $420,000 in supplies and materials, predominantly relating to technical supplies for the HVAC repairs and other building maintenance work. Moving on to Pure Waters. Appropriations increase $1.8 million. Notable changes within this division of DES as salary and benefits again, as with other divisions and departments, increase $1.4 million related to the collective bargaining agreements, pension and medical increases. We've also included a 12% vacancy factor for this division. Debt service is decreasing $1.6 million, and supplies and materials increase $472,000, mostly related to technical supplies like pumps and electrical supplies. Likewise, contractual services increased $478,000, and that's mostly related to agency contracts. And last but not least, fleet maintenance. Fleet does maintenance and repairs to county vehicles and then charges other departments for the work that they've completed, which is why there is a large negative number in interdepartmental charges. There's not a lot going on within this budget other than increase of $140,000 related to salaries and benefits and a decrease of $138,000 in supplies and materials, mostly related to gasoline and diesel fuel for county vehicles and equipment. And I want to point out two things that will show up in every department's budgets so we can maybe head off some questions. We've updated the way we budget for medical and dental. So in the past, medical was charged to a commitment item 961255. That has been changed to 507020 for active employees. And we, in the past, had commitment item 961260 for dental insurance. That has been changed to 507035 for active employees. There are corresponding codes for retirees. I wanted to point that out because it is a change to how we budget for medical and dental. The other large change that you will see in many departments' budgets, if not every department's budget, is the way we do chargebacks for information services. Information services is part of the internal service fund, and it is charged out to all user departments. With our change to our new ERP system, Workday, we needed to make some changes to the way we do some of this stuff. And we decided to start charging departments back for direct charges and admin. Direct charges are really related to software and things that are specific to a department that information services does for a department that is different than every other department. The admin charges will be are being charged out by the number of laptops or PCs in a department, and that is basically any other. If you get a PC and it's got the typical Outlook on it and all that stuff, all those charges are considered. So all the rest of the charges within information services are allocated based on the number of those devices in the department. So there's some big swings there, and I realize that. I think that what we're doing, maybe needs some finesse over time, but it's a big change for this year. Just, and we'll monitor the accounting for that, but that's the way we budgeted for information services this year. Happy to take more questions over at the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cesario. I will now open the floor to any committee members who have questions regarding the Environment and Public Works portion of the budget. Okay, Legislator Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the administration, and I'll apologize if I'm redundant with questions that were answered. I was trying to follow along to clip out any ones that you'd already covered in the presentation. So I apologize if I trip over any of those. But for a couple general questions, again, through you, Madam Chair, to the administration. What percentage of the aviation department budget is viewed as mandated versus non-mandated?
Through the chairwoman, we'll have to get back to you on that.
It's her first time for him.
And then again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration. You may have talked about this, but my question was going to be, why is the security cost increased dramatically? I don't know if is that related, again, through you, Madam Chair, to the sheriff chargeback, or is this something entirely different from what you had shared on that?
Through the chairwoman, do you have a specific page that you're referencing?
First, general on the entirety of security costs increasing?
Legislator,
Oh.
could I add to your question?
Sure.
On page 72, it says, expected increase in sheriff calls and emergency response incidents. They're expecting to make 3,700 additional calls to the sheriff's office this next year and expected to experience an additional 114 emergency response incidents. I don't know if that helps, but that's what I was trying to understand. Why are we expecting more need of the sheriff?
I yield.
Thank you. So sorry.
No. Sorry, you're the chairwoman.
Through the chairwoman, I think the increase of security is what I suggested earlier. It's collective bargaining agreements within the sheriff's department and the number and of staff that's assigned to the airport.
Yeah, that doesn't really clarify for me at least why we're anticipating higher calls and more incidents. I mean, an increase of 3,700 additional calls, like where is that number coming from? Do we have any idea, or can you get back to us, or? It just seems like a significant jump.
Oh, there we go. Through the chair, Andy Moore, Director of Aviation. The increase that you see in those is just really an estimate of what we anticipate moving forward in my discussions and meetings with the sheriff's office. What we've experienced over the past year, what we experienced this year, and what we think may be the need for their services at the airport moving into 2026. So unfortunately, some bad behaviors seem to happen at the airport, and you see it sensationalized on television from time to time. But safety and security is always one of our top priorities. So we just want to make sure that we've got a decent estimate with us. That's all.
Commissioner Morris, you want to continue? Go ahead.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you, Madam Chair. Again, through you to the administration. Can we be provided with the contract between the county and the current airport security company?
Through the chair, I don't have that contract with me right now, but I will make sure that the legislature has that.
Thank you. And again, Madam Chair, through you, to the administration, the last 3 years, we've seen steady growth in passengers. Can we expect to see continued growth now that we're several years removed from the COVID-19 pandemic? And it seems we're back to the numbers that we have had prior to the pandemic.
Through the chair, you are correct. I mean, we've had significant growth in passenger volumes coming through the airport, which is great to see. Right now, we've got 9 airlines at the airport. We've got roughly 26 nonstop destinations. And we've had some September of 2025 was the best September as far as passenger numbers go that we've seen the last 10 years. In fact, August was one of our record months too in the last 10 years. So passenger numbers are definitely increasing, which is great as we offer more airlines and more nonstops for obvious reasons. Last year, we were at about 1.3 million enplanements. Enplanements are passengers departing from the airport. And this year, we expect with good September and a good October, hopefully a good November and December, we should be at about 1.4 million enplanements. So we're looking at roughly a 5 to 6% increase from where we were from last year for 2024. So definitely moving in the right direction. There's a lot of other airports that are moving in the opposite direction, which is their loss. So we want to keep that momentum going as we try to get more nonstop destinations to desired cities, both for business travelers and vacation leisure travelers. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Just as a follow-up through you, Madam Chair. So really indicative of the increase in nonstop flights is what you would mainly attribute the increases for the reason behind them, or one of the major reasons?
Absolutely. I think, you know, statistically speaking, and this is kind of universally across airports across the country, the more nonstops you're able to get, the more attractive it is for people to travel. As I'm sure everybody in this room likes a nonstop flight versus a stop that has a layover, which is no surprise and certainly understandable. So the more nonstops we can get, the more airlines that we can get operating out of the airport, the more passengers, and it just really kind of feeds on itself. The more passengers we get coming through the airports, then the more nonstops we get coming through the airport. So it's just one of these revolving wheels that if we just keep the momentum moving and gaining 5 to 6% every year, which is fantastic for an airport our size, considering that we have comparable size airport to the east, which is Syracuse, and a significantly larger airport to the west, which is Buffalo. So we do have a certain catchment area that's limited, unlike other geographical parts of the country.
Certainly good news. Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, on page 568, under aviation administration, can you explain the reasoning behind the decrease of approximately 170,000 on the interest of bonds?
It's a 568. 568. 568. No, it's a decrease in bonding.
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, the interest works just like your mortgage. When you first take out your mortgage on your home at home, you pay the most amount of interest as you make your payments, your interest steadily declines. What you're seeing here is just the natural rate of interest going down as it would with any debt issued.
Again, just follow up through you, Madam Chair, is that these are structured just for normal payouts and normal decreasing?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, that's right.
Through you, Madam Chair, to the administration, page 573, aviation, airport, crash and fire rescue. Can you explain why the medical insurance increased by 100K after switching from IS medical insurance?
Through you, Madam Chair. So health insurance in general has increased 8.8% in this year's budget. So in total, health insurance in the 2025 adopted budget was 96.3 million. In the 2026 proposed budget, that number goes up to 104.8 million. So that's just a reflection of the increase.
And again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, page 574, aviation airport field operations. Salaries increasing by about 146,000. Is that all CBA related?
Through the chairwoman, you said page.
Page 574, aviation airport field operations salary.
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, that also includes an addition of one full-time equivalent, an airport equipment operator. Yeah, and along with salary increase, collective bargaining agreement increases and
Okay, thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, again, on that same page, why is there an added professional services line of 40,000?
through you, Madam Chairwoman, that is for airport lighting maintenance, so that we can get repairs for that and overhead door maintenance.
And again, through you, Madam Chair, just to follow up, with that being added, was that handled? Is this something new or was that handled in another line somewhere?
Uh,
Or is this just, I apologize, is this,
Oh, I'm sorry, through you, Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I need to adjust my answer. The $40,000 increase is actually for, the EMAS strength testing. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Through the chair, as the finance director was saying, the $40,000 is for the EMAS. EMAS is Engineered Material Arresting System. It's the stopping mechanism at the end of our crosswind runway, which is 1028. The EMAS has been there since 2005. It's reaching its expiration date per FAA regulations and guidelines. And so we're looking to have a study done, a $40,000 study done to see what the status and life status is of that EMAS system and whether or not that needs to be replaced or refurbished based on the study. What we'll end up doing is going to the FAA, seeking airport improvement funds, which they are aware of, and they are aware of this study and endorse this study so that we can best assess where we need to be moving forward with this EMAS system at the end of the runway.
thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, page 576, airport custodial operations. Salaries are increasing by 248,000. Again, is that CBA or any new positions?
Through working, that actually is the CBAs and an addition of 2 full-time equivalents, which are maintenance mechanic ones.
Thank you. And again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration on page 578, airport maintenance building operations. Why are utilities electric increasing by $100,000 while utilities gas is decreasing by 50,000?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, that is actually per Fluent, our energy aggregation advisor, term consultant. They give us estimates and electricity was going up and gas was going down.
Thank you. My last question, and then I'll yield to my colleague. Through you, Madam Chair, through the administration. On page 721, can you explain the need for the new additional accountant position?
Through the chair, Andy Moore, Director of Aviation. Yes, the junior accountant position that was upgraded to accountant position. As we looked at the daily duties and functions and roles of that position, it was more in line with the accountant position versus the junior accountant position. So we just wanted to stabilize it and just make it an accountant position based on the responsibilities.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll yield for additional questions on aviation, and then I have some other ones for fire.
Thank you. Any other questions on aviation? Legislator Mafucci? Yeah.
Actually, it's really not a question. I
Yeah.
would just invite people, if you haven't been to the airport, go out and see the capital improvements. Place looks fabulous. It's really, really well done. As I'm a member of the airport authority, so I'm very proud of that. Looks great.
Thank you. Yep, I just, 2 quick questions. I recognize the airport doesn't, need any net county support. So when the airport authority increases its revenue, appropriations also went up. Is, the airport unable to share funds in the other direction to the county, to other departments?
Through the chair, we have to be careful about sharing funds with other departments. The FAA is very particular about what they call revenue diversion. And that's something that they look at on an annual basis. And so we just need to make sure that what we're sharing monies with and paying for, as far as reimbursement to the county, it's all accounted for and within appropriate standards, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, items related to running of the airport.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that was clear. And one other question related to the airport is I know there's development of biofuel related jet fuel. Is the airport, are we pursuing any changes in fuel or pilot programs or opportunities to explore shifting towards more biofuels that you're aware of?
So the airport doesn't necessarily get into the fueling business. We leave that up to the airlines and to the fixed-based operators. Those are the what we call the FBOs that provide the de-icing and fueling of the aircraft. We do adhere to what the county and the state would like us to start looking at more of the hybrid type vehicles. We do have a bunch of those in our fleet as we speak, working with DES and fleet management on that, but we just don't really get into fueling. It's not one of our operations that we're responsible for.
Understood. Yeah, and I appreciate the shift in some of the ground transportation to less polluting opportunities. Are those fueling services, are they contracted? And is the airport authority contracting for those fueling services?
Through the chair, those fueling and de-icing services are private company to private company contracts. So when I say that, I'm talking about airline contracts with private sector providers. We do not, as a government entity, the airport itself, whether it's the county or the authority, get involved in providing fuel or providing de-icing fluid. It's strictly done through private contracts and agreements with the private companies that operate at the airports.
Thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I yield the floor. Legislator McIntyre.
Through the chair. I specifically had a bunch of questions from my constituents this year about the private security at the airport. And my question is, how was that contract decided? I am aware that as soon as certain things became public, that certain people were immediately no longer employed by the airport. But how was the contract with outside security decided? And was it that the sheriffs could not cover all of the hours that were available, or are they already at maximum? How are we contracting to a private company outside of the sheriff's department? And how was that contract decided for certain security hours?
Through the chair. So the private contract was done through the county procurement process through an RFP. So it went through the state procurement requirements that RFPs go through, that this body has voted on and has seen for many, many years. So it did follow the proper procurement requirements, guidelines, protocols that any other county RFP process would go through. Really what we ran into is a situation where the Monroe County Sheriff's Office is what's called the LEOs at airports, law enforcement organizations. What was happening is they were spending an exorbitant amount of time being crossing guards at our arrivals level and our departure level roads at the airport. That is not the best use of their time or the best use of Monroe County Sheriff's deputies at the airport. And so in concert or I should say in discussions with the Sheriff's Office, we decided to join the national trend that is happening at airports across the country, including Syracuse and Buffalo, to have a private company come in and really just kind of be the crossing guards, if you want to call it that, but also try to move vehicles off the curbs, which is a TSA requirement per our airport security plan at the airport, which is a document that's approved by TSA and the federal security director of TSA. And so by having a private security company provide those two services being helping people cross the roadway, helping passengers cross the roadway, and then also moving cars away from the curb, we could have the Monroe County Sheriff's Office perform more law enforcement security related duties on airport property and in the terminal building. So that was I hope that answered your question. That was the process that we had to select a company. And then that is the reason why we decided to go with a private company for the curb and for the crossing of passengers, both at the arrivals level and departure level. The company is not law enforcement. They are not assuming law enforcement responsibilities. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office has those responsibilities. And we're very glad and happy with their services at the airport to perform law enforcement requirements per TSA and our airport security plan. Thank you.
Okay, through the chair, thank you very much for the explanation. Just a second question, through the chair again. You are aware of the pictures and other things that I am mentioning that created those specific, I received one email privately and then I received other text messages, phone calls. I just want to make sure that we are aware of the voices that were out there about this issue and those concerns are being addressed. Am I correct to understand that those concerns have been addressed and that the airport is happy with the way that those concerns were addressed?
Through the chair, I am aware of those. Those individuals are no longer employed by the security company. I believe both those individuals were let go that same day that those photos were provided. And like with any contract, there's a little bit of a learning curve. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office was fantastic in helping the private security company kind of get accustomed to the airport. There was some overlap in their responsibilities and roles. Which was very beneficial to any new entity coming in and performing those responsibilities.
Okay, thank you, through the chair. Thank you so much. I appreciate the explanation and I yield.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Commissioner Morris.
Questions now. Just had some questions, Madam Chair, regarding the environmental services portion of the budget. Through you to the administration. I'll ask the same question asked previously and assuming it would be information to get back to us, but could we get the percentage of the environmental services budget that's mandated versus non-mandated, please?
Through the chair, yeah, we'll provide that to you.
Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, on page 111, I'd like to ask, why was the completion of the Monroe County Organics Management Plan not listed as a major accomplishment in 2025 major accomplishments? Has this plan been completed or is it still being worked on?
Through you, Madam Chair, Mike Garland, Director of DES. That Organics Management Plan is still in development. We expect to have that completed in the second quarter of 2026.
Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, can you provide an update on the MCC Applied Technology Center project?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, we can provide an update. The project is in construction and is expected to be open for fall semester of 2026.
Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, can you provide an update on the FEV WRFF electrical systems project?
Through you, Madam Chair, yep, the project as it relates to the generators. As you know, the main building, the switchgear, all that has been installed and operational. The next phase of that project is are the three 2.5 megawatt generators that were procured through a $16 million federal grant. Those generators are on site and we do have a contract that your honorable body approved for the installation of those generators. And we expect to have those operational in the fourth quarter of 2026. Excuse me.
Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through to the administration, on page 112, why was the combined sewer overflow abatement program, a bridge conduit pipelining project not completed as it was listed as a major objective for 2026 in the previous year's budget?
Through you, Madam Chair, we were a little optimistic on our completion of that fairly complex project. It involves relining two 72-inch diameter pipes that are part of the combined sewer overflow abatement program that cross the Genesee River. This year, we completed the south conduit pipe. We're going to assess the final construction and the epoxy coating of that pipe, and then we'll move on to the north pipe, another 72-inch diameter pipe. Expect to have that completed by the fourth quarter of 2026.
And Madam Chair, thank you, Mr. Through you, Madam Chair, to the administration. Is there a charge for residents to use the new EV charging stations in the parks?
Through you, Madam Chair, yep, it's been the same charge since we made those available to the public, and that's $2.25 an hour.
And then just a follow-up question there. I believe, did we receive grant monies for those? Or did the county just fund them?
Through the chair, we did receive grant money from some of the initial installations, but the ones that we're currently installing now, we have not secured grant funding for. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And then, Madam Chair, again, staying on page 12 through to the administration, have any other schools, and if so, which ones or how many, shown interest in joining the food waste diversion pilot program?
Through the Madam Chair, there are 5 schools that are presently part of the school waste, food waste diversion program. And those are Brighton, Fairport, Penfield, Pittsford, and West Irondequoit. 4 of the 5 have a program underway. We're still working with the Pittsford School District to finalize their work plan. But I would say all 5 schools are very enthusiastic and have very unique plans, and we're looking forward to seeing their success.
Again, just a follow up through you, Madam Chair, to the administration. Are there any other schools that have expressed the interest in trying to join if funding became available?
Through you, Madam Chair, we expect to make that offering next year to other school districts that may have interest in applying for the program.
Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through to the administration, page 579 under appropriations for environmental services, solid waste administration. What is the reasoning behind the commercial services decreasing by 98,000?
Through you, Madam Chair, we shifted consulting services to the line that's just below that, 504,320 professional services. So as you may see in that line, there's an increase for nearly that amount and a decrease in the line that you're referencing.
Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, on page 581, environmental services, solid waste transfer hall landfill. Why do solid waste transfer contracts increase by $262,000 in the budget proposal?
Through Madam Chair, rates go up annually, and we use a historical average on tons, and that's going up incrementally as well. We've also budgeted more tons for city house demos. As you may recall, there's been some fires in the city. Tent City in particular created a significant amount of material that needed to be managed. So we're increasing the tonnage for anticipated increased house demolitions in the city of Rochester.
Thank you. Moving again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, on page 584 under environmental services, solid waste, municipal solid waste, Proc Center. Why does provision capital projects decrease by 300,000? And I'll apologize if that was something that may have been covered in the presentation.
Through you, through the chair. That really is a reflection of the decisions we had to make in the budget regarding cash capital across the board. there are decreases in every department that use that.
Thank you. Madam Chair, again, through you to the administration, page 585, for Environmental Services, DES, Engineering Administration. Why is, maintenance buildings listed as a new line item in the amount of 120,000?
Through Madam Chair, this is for EV charging stations and they were budgeted in other lines. So those costs have been allocated in a line in the line that is most appropriate for this project.
Again, just a follow-up question, Madam Chair, through you. Do we have a number? How many stations? Or ballpark?
Through Madam Chair, 3 EV stations in 2026.
Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, through you, sticking on the same page, why is maintenance equipment listed as a new line item for 65,000? Is that related as same reasoning or something different?
Through Madam Chair, yes, for the same reason that you mentioned before, as well as our diesel decarbonation pilot program.
Again, Madam Chair, through to the administration, why do professional services decrease by 117,000?
Through Madam Chair, there's a decrease in code compliance consultant services. We adjusted it based on historical usage and need within the department.
Thank you. And again, Madam Chair, through you, why is equipment listed as a new line item for $105,000? I'll check that in the increase from the 2025 amended. Again, Madam Chair, through you.
Through you, Madam Chair, this also relates to the EV charging stations as well. Again, we have costs that are spread across different lines within the budget.
And again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, what is the reasoning for the $123,000 increase in funding for medical insurance? But is that asked and answered previously?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct.
Sir, I yield. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Mafucci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't have my mic on last time, so I just want to remind people again, if you get a chance, head out to the airport, look at those capital improvements, very impressive. But I do have a question about the EV charging stations. Through you to the administration, can you tell us a little bit about what type of stations those will be?
Through you, Madam Chair, there'll be level 2 charging stations.
Quick follow-up. Do you know who will be the manufacturer?
Through you, Madam Chair, Voltrek.
One more follow-up question. Will they run through ChargePoint or another vendor?
Through Madam Chair, yes, ChargePoint.
Thank you. I yield.
Just to follow up on Legislator Mafucci, you say 3 stations, so does that 6 like hookups, or is it 2 hookups per station, or?
Through Madam Chair, that is correct.
Thank you.
2 per station.
Great, thank you. Legislator Sinclair.
Thank you.
You bet.
Through you, Madam Chair. On page 586, Environmental Services, DES Engineering Administration, can you explain the equipment acquisition decrease from 310,000 to 0?
So
Through you, Madam Chair, we had parked all the expenses for the EV charging stations in that line. They've since been moved out of that line into other lines within the budget.
Thank you.
Okay.
Through you, Madam Chair, what is the reason, same page, what is the reasoning for the $126,000 decrease in funding for the transportation equipment?
Through Madam Chair, there was a line where we had that we'd use for actual electric vehicle purchases, plus a grant award as well. Those have been allocated into other lines within the budget.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, why is the FS Transportation listed as a new line item funded at 100,000?
Madam Chair, it's for the battery backup that DOT is installing for signals. It'll be a back charge to county DOT.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, on page 587, Environmental Services, Pure Waters GCO. What is the reasoning for the $134,000 increase in agency contracts?
Through you, Madam Chair, this is treatment and transmission charges that GCO pays to utilize Northwest Quadrant and Rochester Pure Waters District for treatment and transmission. Again, it's based on rates and historical flow rates as well, too.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, why does the principal bonds decrease by 108,000?
Through you, Madam Chair, that's just a reflection of the debt service and the bonds that we have that are slowly being paid off.
And through you, Madam Chair, what is the reasoning for the $90,000 increase in the FS PWA?
That's a budget for our work order parts and material chargebacks. Again, trending on historical averages.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, what is the reasoning for the FS Pure Waters Administration labor increase by 545,000?
It's a sharing cost for a Pure Waters program and expenses allocated specifically to GCO. And GCO is paying its share for other costs and services provided within Pure Waters. So again, based on historical trends and flows.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, on page 588, Environmental Services, Pure Waters Admin Lab, GIS. What is the reasoning for the $909,000 increase in salaries?
Through Madam Chair, there's a net decrease of one full-time equivalent in this area. And the increase is really related to CSEA union and step increases. There's also a 12% vacancy factor applied to this page.
Through you, Madam Chair, what is the reason behind the $202,000 decrease in funding for the temporary help? Is there no longer temporary help?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, the temp help budget is now in the two lines above that, 501000. And the remainder, the $7,000 just represents seasonal help.
And through you, Madam Chair, why did the software license decrease by 115,000? What was that from?
Through you, Madam Chair, we had a one-time upgrade for our software as part of the industrial waste treatment program.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Software update.
Nelson? We good?
Through you, Madam Chair, there were expenses associated with one-time renewals for our software that we rely on both in the lab as well as the industrial waste pretreatment program. And we incurred costs this year that we're not incurring in this year, next year in this coming budget.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, can you explain the maintenance equipment decrease by 110,000?
Generally reflects a decrease for really all repairs, including doors, generators, aeration systems, sprinklers, HVAC, and it's in line with 2024 actuals.
Thank you. And through the chair on page 589, environmental services, admin, lab, GIS. What's the reason for the 212,000 decrease in funding for the chemical and biologicals? Has there been a big change at the wastewater plant?
Through you, Madam Chair, we had some higher prices in 2024 and 2025 for chemicals, and that's starting to level off. So the budget reflects what we anticipate the cost in 2026.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, why does the construction supplies increase by 153,000?
Through Madam Chair, we're seeing prices increasing for equipment and materials, as well as purchases for our stockroom, including HVAC supplies, hand tools, welding accessories, lumber, masonry, and plumbing.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, what's the reason for the technical supplies increasing by 558,000?
Through Madam Chair, we're seeing an increase in cost for all supplies relating to booster pumps and parts, mechanical seals, meter pumps, submersible pumps and parts, cameras and film, electrical supplies, flow meters, and recorders.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, on page 590, environmental services, admin, lab, GIS. What does the work orders labor change for $143,000? Why does that change?
Through Madam Chair, it's really a reflection of, again, our labor costs, and as the hourly rates and wages go up, this will reflect that as well, too.
So just a heads up that we've been here an hour and we still have an agenda and other committees. So let's have 5-minute warning maybe.
Through you, Madam Chair, why does the FSPWA change by 390,000?
It's an increase in our budget for our work order parts, material chargebacks. Again, trending on historical averages.
Through you, Madam Chair, what is the reasoning for the $632,000 increase in the IS Info Services Administration cost?
Through you, Madam Chair, as previously discussed, that's related to the change in methodology for information services chargebacks to all departments.
Through you, Madam Chair, what is the reason for the $420,000 change in the FSPW administration costs?
Those are, through you, Madam Chair, those are our budgeted calculations, and they're based on percentage of flow and anticipated work orders, taking into consideration historical usage.
Through the chair, on page 592, Environmental Services Northwest Quadrant, what is the reason for the $428,000 increase in the FSPWA?
Through Madam Chair, similar to the prior district, that's increased, but that's budget associated with an accurate estimate on work order parts and material chargebacks.
Through you, Madam Chair, why does the FSPW admin labor decrease by $629,000?
Again, Madam Chair, those are our budgeted calculations based on percentage of flow and anticipated work orders.
And through the chair, on page 593, Environmental Services, Arundecoyt Bay, why do the public works contracts decrease by $145,000? Can you explain the decrease?
Through you, Madam Chair, it reflects reimbursement to the town of Webster for wastewater treatment that they provide to properties located in the Arundecoyt Bay South Central District that are in the town of Penfield, and that reflects Webster's actual rates.
Thank you. And through the chair, can you explain the $388,000 increase in the agency contracts?
Through you, Madam Chair, those are costs associated with treatment and transmission for flow through GCO and transmission through Rochester Pure Waters District, as well as treatment at Van Laar.
Through you, Madam Chair, why does the FSPWA decrease by another $120,000?
Through you, Madam Chair, that's in line with 2024 actuals, again, budget for work order parts and material chargebacks.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, what is the reason for the $314,000 increase in the FSPW admin labor costs?
Yeah. Through you, Madam Chair, again, based on flow and budgeted work orders within the district.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, why does the FSPW admin parts increase by $126,000?
Through Madam Chair, for the same reason I mentioned prior question.
Through the chair, on page 594, Environmental Services Rochester District, why does the commercial services increase by $141,000?
Through you, Madam Chair, majority of the increases relate to sludge hauling from Van Laar to Mill Seat, as well as snow plowing contract, walk-off mats, extermination services, and other various services within the district.
And through you, Madam Chair, what is the reason for the $180,000 increase in the solid waste transfer contracts?
Through you, Madam Chair, those are based on our estimates of tons that we expect to process or process biosolids that would be landfilled at Mill Seat, as well as current rates.
Okay, so if you have more questions, I'd request you submit them in writing. Yes, Legislator Morris?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I guess I would encourage us not to cut off debate or discussion on the budget. I know at least we have some questions on things that I think is appropriate for us to discuss publicly, and I would encourage us to be allowed to do so.
Understood, but we've been here an hour and we still have lots of other committees to come after us. How many more questions do you need to ask?
we have a series of questions that we have on here. I guess I would just go back to, I'm not familiar with, I mean, both in being a legislator or when I worked in the legislature, that there's ever been an end to debate or discussion, certainly on the county budget, that I'm aware of.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you to move it along. Pick your favorite questions out of respect for everybody else who still needs to get this work done. And we still have an agenda tonight.
I
So-
certainly, yes, I
I'm
certainly.
giving you 15 more minutes and then we're going to submit and move on. Okay? So
Through you, Madam Chair, I'll try to speak as fast as possible. Through the chair on page 595, Environmental Services Rochester District. Why does the FSPW administration increase by 246,000?
Through you, Madam Chair, again, this FSPWA occurs in each of our Pure Waters districts. Again, it's reflecting our estimated budget for work order parts and material chargebacks.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, can you explain the $1 million increase in the FS Pure Waters admin labor costs?
Through you, Madam Chair, again, for each of the districts that we have this line item, again, based on our estimated calculations, based on percentage of flow and anticipated work orders.
So the answer is going to be the same for all 4 of the districts.
Through you, Madam Chair, on page 596, Environmental Services Building Operations, can you explain the $404,000 increase in funding for salaries?
Through you, Madam Chair. Again, this is related to collective bargaining agreements. And also there's in this division, a net increase of 6 full-time equivalents, 2 supervisor of building services, and 4 full-time equivalents for the 691 St. Paul building that we anticipate taking over maintenance for in the 4th quarter of 2026.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, what's the reasoning for the 285,000 decrease in the maintenance buildings?
Now, through the chair for the 504-280 maintenance buildings, there is an increase there, and that cost is associated with elevator inspections, testing, maintenance, repairs, and code compliance.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, on page 597, Environmental Services Building Operations, why does technical services increase by 327,000?
Madam Chair, could you kindly repeat your question?
Why does the technical supplies increase by $327,000? That's on page 597.
Through you, Madam Chair, again, that's our estimate for maintenance and construction, electrical supplies, printer and copy supplies, and other miscellaneous supplies related to our building operations.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, this will be my last question for now. What is the reason for the $427,000 increase in the interest interest on the bonds?
Through you, Madam Chair, as already stated earlier this evening, I think this is related to the interest in the timing of the bonding that we did. So earlier on in a bond's life, the interest is higher. As the bonds are paid down, interest goes down. So for the sale.
Thank you. I yield.
Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a quick general question on page 117. You'd go there. You're making use of significantly more appropriated fund balance, which again is a reflection of sound fiscal management. And I just want to confirm that, because we're using fund balance in a lot of other places, do you think this is sustainable, given the current possible fiscal environment? And if so, why do you think that?
Through the chair, this reflects the 1,720,000. That's what you're asking about. That reflects the $1 million general fund balance contribution for climate initiatives. And it also includes $720,000 in fund balance related to the internal service fund and facilities. It's not part of the general fund's fund balance contribution.
So if thank you for that response. So this fund balance is not the fund balance that's offsetting general fund expenses, but other expenses.
Correct. The climate initiative dollars would be, but it's part of the committed fund balance already. But the other 720 is related to internal services.
Okay, and one follow-up question through the chair. So you do believe that this is sustainable, that in the future we will likely be able to continue to use fund balance appropriately?
Through the chair, it would really depend on the internal services fund and where it comes out at the end of the year. But I don't see a problem with that value going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Commissioner McIntyre.
Through the chair, I have a series of questions that I'm going to try to consolidate here.
Thank you.
So on page 598 through the chair, on page 598 of the budget, there is a series of modifications to the internal services. There's internal services, there's a change by 180,000 for City Place, for example. I'm sure this response will be similar for all of them. What is the reason for these different changes in internal services? So if we're looking at the line items, we're beginning with line item IS, Hall of Justice, there's a change of negative 147,000. There's another one for a negative 716,000 on the county office building. There's another for City Place of an increase for 183,000. I was wondering, as we go on, there's about 5 of these. What would the reason be for these modifications?
Through you, Madam Chair. These are the dollars that facilities charges back to the buildings for the services they provide, along with other things like rent, if we lease a building, perhaps, and all the maintenance that goes on to service a building. So obviously, salaries are going up. All the costs for equipment and supplies are going up. So therefore, chargebacks are going up.
Okay, thank you. What is the reasoning for the FSPW admin parts changing from a negative 496,000 to a negative 1.2 million? Line item, hold on, as I get down here. Line item 9785. Oh, sorry, nope. Here we go. 978577.
This is work that relates to Pure Waters and our admin line, and adjustments are made each year based on actuals and based on what we are projecting to perform in the coming budget year.
Okay, and a follow-up question to that. That's an $800,000 variation. Is there a specific reason for this particular budget line? Is performing differently, I suppose that's a better way to phrase it.
Through the chair, it's really a balancing mechanism for the facilities budget as it relates to the support that it relies on through Pure Waters in terms of parts and other admin support. And again, it's a balancing mechanism within our budget between the relationship between building operations and Pure Waters.
Okay, thank you. And on page 599, we have a line for gasoline. It's 505050. That has decreased by $100,000. Through the chair, could you please explain why gasoline decreased by $100,000?
Through the chair, that reduction relates to projected decrease in the rate for gas, slight increase in usage, but primarily the delta there relates to the decrease in the price of gasoline that we're anticipating for next year based on what had been budgeted in the current year.
Okay, thank you. Going on to page 701. What is the reason for the $590,000 increase in solid waste tipping fees?
Through the chair, again, this is based on increased tonnage that we're anticipating for house demos, as well as our Millseat landfill royalty fees, and reflects tipping fees and the rates that increase on an annual basis.
Thank you. And through the chair, what is the reason for the $266,000 increase to the sale of electric?
Through the chair, we anticipate the rate for the sale of electricity to maintain where it's at in this current year, which we had under budgeted in our 2025 budget. So the good news is that the rates for the electricity that we produce at Millseat has increased, and that's reflective of the estimated revenue in 2026.
Thank you. Through the chair, why does the transfer from general fund decrease by $1 million?
Through the chair, during the presentation, I spoke about this. We, as part of this budget process, we made the decision to decrease the general fund contribution to solid waste. This fund has a due to the general fund that we are trying to pay off. This is just going to prolong that payoff for a little bit longer.
Thank you. I apologize. I'd forgotten that you had already mentioned that. Okay. Let me see. Going to page 705. Through the chair, what is the reasoning for the $578,000 increase in the Pure Waters assessment? And I apologize if this has already been stated before, but if I could just have this one answered, and if I see it pop up again, I'll skip it.
Through you, Madam Chair, yeah, each district has a relatively small increase in its rates, and that's reflective of water usage as well as rate increases in each district.
Yep. Okay. Yes, moving on to page 707. Okay. Through the chair, what is the reason for the $2.9 million decrease to the capital assessment? And I'm pretty sure that's connected to the question before.
Yep, through the chair. Although the rate structure is a little bit different in Rochester, we've rebalanced our operating revenues and capital revenues to align with actual expenses associated with our operating and capital expenses. So while we've decreased the capital assessment again to align with our anticipated capital expenses, you've seen an increase in revenues associated with our operating expenses. So it's really rebalancing. The net delta there is about a 3.5% increase for the average ratepayer in the city of Rochester.
Okay. Thank you. And through the chair, why did the sewer charges and rentals decrease by $339,000?
Through you, Madam Chair, we budget high in 2025. We are seeing some reductions in terms of our surcharges for other industrial, permitted industrial discharges within the community.
Thank you. Also, why does the water use charge, and I'm sure that part of this was answered in the previous question, it's just such a big jump. Why does the water use charge increase by $4.5 million?
Through you, Madam Chair, as I mentioned before, we've aligned our capital expenses with capital revenue. So you see a decrease there. And as I mentioned, the operating revenues, which are derived from the water use charge, are rebalanced to align with our actual operating expenses. So again, the net delta is about a 3.5% increase for the average homeowner in the city of Rochester.
Thank you. And one last question on this particular section. On page 708, through the chair, why does the fund balance increase from $720,000 from zero?
Through the chair, that is use of internal service facilities fund balance to help offset cost related to building services.
Thank you. Okay, and my last set of questions, I'm going to try and consolidate this one. On page 726, through the chair, there are a lot of modifications to staff. Could we just have, and this could also be emailed to us later, an explanation as to why, for example, there's a removal of some of the staff, like, for example, the manager of operations and energy, and for the decrease in staffing, the way that staffing was shifted around within the budget?
Through you, Madam Chair, we made some strategic decisions on certain positions to abolish, then create positions that we felt were more suitable based on our operational requirements. The one that you spoke of, Manager of Operations Energy, Group 19, is really not a relevant title in the department. However, we have a much stronger need for a project manager title, which is a Group 20. So we abolished the Manager of Operations and to create a project manager title that you can see. It's a Group 20. And again, based on our workload and what we have in the CIP, that is a duly needed position.
And thank you so much. Through the chair, if we could just have, so that I'm not asking a question about each one of these, if we could just have maybe an email with an explanation of the modifications that were made, because it appears that there were a bunch of them that were removed and others were created based on need. Could we please have that sent to us by email?
Through the chair, yes, we can.
Thank you so much. And one final question. Through the chair, what is the reasoning for the safety and training analyst position increasing by one group to 15 to 16?
Through the chair, that's a position that's really grown in significance and importance within DES, both from a training standpoint as well as a safety standpoint. Again, that could be training for our wastewater operators, our collection system operators, our CDL drivers. So the position's grown and the responsibilities increased significantly. So we felt that it was warranted to align with other positions within DES with similar levels of responsibility, but different job duties certainly. But that individual acts as a coordinator for all safety and training activity within DES, and also coordinates with other physical sector departments for CDL training and other types of heavy equipment operations.
Thank you so much. So through the chair, if we could just have within the explanation as to the movements of different positions, if we could also have an explanation in that email that refers to why there were certain increases for certain employees of their grade level. Is that possible?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, it is.
Thank you so much. I yield.
Thank you, legislator. I appreciate the efficiency of the consolidations. Thanks so much. Is there any other comments? All right then, fantastic. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the October 27th, 2025 minutes, the Environment and Public Works Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral number 25-0337. Authorized contracts with Colliers Engineering and Design, Architecture, Landscape, Authorized contracts with Colliers Engineering and Design, Architecture, Landscape Architecture, Surveying, CT, PC, Erdman, Anthony and Associates, Inc., and Labella Associates, DPC, for Monroe County Sheriff's Office Architectural and Engineering Term Services.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0338. Authorize a contract with Fluent Consulting Corporation for the provision of energy aggregation group management services.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question through you, Madam Chairman, to the admin. The referral lists two separate costs for the county for electricity and natural gas. Could you explain the difference between the two different cost points for both electricity and natural gas? And how does this work in conjunction with RG&E?
Through you, Madam Chair, again, the Energy Aggregation Group provides what we call as wholesale access to electricity and natural gas. That's the commodity portion of a utility bill. There are a number of municipalities and other governmental agencies and school districts that are part of our Energy Aggregation Group. But this is focused on finding lower cost commodities, both electric and natural gas, for our municipal customers. And so, the electricity and the natural gas are obviously very different commodities. And so the price reflects what it takes our consultant to be able to manage those utilities, those commodities for the county and our municipal customers. Let's see. So as it relates to RG&E, again, the Energy Aggregation Group is responsible to procure the commodity portion of the bill, but the transmission and distribution is still provided by RG&E. But we bundle the RG&E cost, transmission distribution, as well as a commodity cost, and then we bill our municipal customers accordingly.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
So just to clarify, you're saying that the county, the energy group is going to pay $0.00065 per kilowatt hour of electricity, but also Fluent's going to charge $0.00075 per kilowatt energy, or that's the total cost of their service and the energy and the electricity?
Through you, to you, Madam Chair, unfortunately, there is a Scrivener's error in the first paragraph.
There you go.
Apologize for that. However, it is correct in the third paragraph, as well as a specific legislative action.
Okay.
And that is what our consultant, who's actually been working for the county since the program began in 2001, that's the rate that they charge per kilowatt hour that they manage, as well as the decatherm of natural gas. That's what they charge for their fee. And for the county, that's approximately $105,000 a year for their services. But since the program began, we've seen, again, for all members within the Energy Aggregation Group, and this goes back to actually 2012, not to the very beginning of the program, but we saved about 5% on the commodity bills for our municipal customers in the county and almost 10% in natural gas. So Monroe County doesn't charge a fee for our services for Director Cesario's team who manages consolidating the bills, billing our municipal clients and receiving their payments. We don't charge our municipal customers for that. But this is the rate that our consultant provides for us to be able to consolidate that information, schedule the electricity and the procurement of the natural gas, and so that our county municipal buildings and school districts can operate at a reduced and more cost-effective rate.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
'25 0339, authorized contracts with Design Space Studios LLC, Susan Clark Design, CID, PLLC, and Vargas Associates, Inc. for space utilization, move management, and/or interior design turn services.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonick, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, to the administration. Where are these projects expected to take place? And is there already a list of projects anticipated?
Through you, Madam Chair, this is a new term service for DES, and it really came out of a need to have professionals that are in space utilization and move management work directly with county staff as well as interior design. Typically, when we need those services, we're going through our architecture and engineering firms. We're finding that we prefer to work directly with those companies. These are all certified WBEs that we're recommending for authorization. But again, they're relatively small projects. They could include, say, lactation rooms, adult changing rooms. If a department is expanding or say maybe relocating to a different county building, we could rely on their services to help with developing layout, assisting with move management, ordering of furniture, fixtures, furniture, and equipment necessary for that move. Judges' chambers, work within the COB as well as City Place. But it's a very specialized professional service. And again, we don't have to go through the architecture engineering firm to secure that service.
Okay. Okay, I yield. Thank you.
Legislator Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the administration. I'm sorry if I missed this in the referral. Was this bid out and this was lowest responsible bidder, or was it selected another way?
Through you, Madam Chair, this was a professional service selection.
Okay. And through you, Madam Chair, to the administration. So can you explain the process then? I know, is there a certain threshold that can be, I guess, to determine whether or not it's, I'm sorry, I understand it's professional services. I guess, could you explain how the selection of this company or consideration of any other companies was conducted?
Yep, through Madam Chair. Again, this is in the hard bid like construction. This again is a professional service. Any of our professional service contracts greater than 20,000 need to come before your honorable body for authorization. Again, our annual cap here is we're recommending 400,000. So like you see when we bring forward architecture and engineering firms, this is no different. We go through the same selection process. There were 10 firms that had expressed interest, and through a selection process, we identified these 3 firms as being the most qualified to provide the service. And again, we're coming before you to ask for authorization to enter into contracts, professional service contracts with these firms.
And then just a follow-up question, if I may, Madam Chair, through you to the administration. So this is for a 1-year term. What is okay, there are the potential for additional 1-year extensions. Does that come back before us to vote on again, or is that just, it could be automatic?
Through the chair, yep, you're giving us authorization to be able to extend their contract for 2 additional 1-year periods. You'll see that in some subsequent term consultant contracts are asking for your authorization, but that's typically how we will develop the duration of the service that we are requesting. Start with 1 year, and then we have the ability to renew them for 2 one-year extensions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0340, authorized contracts with CJ Brown Energy and Engineering PC, IMEG Consultants Group, and Wendell WD Architecture, Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture PC for energy engineering term services.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonick, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? To the administration, do we have any specific projects in mind that we're going to need their assistance with, or?
Through the, to your chair, to the chair, there's a number of projects that we've completed under this term service at MCH, the Public Safety Building, and some of our recycling facilities, as well as Innovative Field. Some potential projects could include various facility utility capacity reviews, as well as HVAC review and recommendations at different buildings, as well as power needs at different facilities around the county. It's also the term service that I would expect would do the design to implement some of the recommendations from the Climate Action Plan, as well as our sustainability engineers. So this could even translate into the EV charging stations as well, too.
Thank you. All in favor? Oh, Legislator Morris. Mhm.
I'm assuming this is similar to the previous one where it's professional services contract. When you're interviewing various firms, is at that point, are they giving their estimated cost for those, or is it more like an RFQ or RFP request for qualifications?
That's all.
Through the chair, yeah, it's all through selected based on qualifications, and then they're retained as projects are developed, and we identify the most, suitable consultant once they're hired to undertake design services for that particular project.
And then just follow up and the counties that we're being asked, or you're reviewing and recommending the most qualified firm or firms, and they then provide, once they get additional information, what their estimated cost would be to perform that.
Yep. Through the chair, if we have a particular project that we want to engage with the term consultant, we would sit down with them. And again, we've already had them under contract, so we know their rates, we know their specific qualifications, we know the members of their team. And then we would develop a scope, and they would then develop a fee based on what they'd expect their design fee to be. We probably go through a couple iterations until we get it to a point where we felt was justifiable. So we do that for each and every project when we engage a term service consultant.
Thanks.
Great. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0341, authorize a contract with Barton and Leducci DPC for the preparation of a local solid waste management plan.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonick, second by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Will we receive a copy of the plan when it's finished?
Through the chair, yes, in fact, it will come before your honorable body for authorization.
Thank you.
And do you anticipate that taking a year, couple years? What's the time frame on that development?
To you, Madam Chair, we expect to have the plan completed in the fourth quarter of 2027. So around that time, we would come back before our honorable body seeking authorization.
Great, thank you. Will the solid waste management plan be defining circular economy and integrated into the plan's core goals.
Through the chair, we will have a series of public meetings as well, getting input from the community on priorities. And I would expect that topic will be a popular topic that will be evaluated for this particular plan.
Okay, so in contracting with Barton and Logitas, we haven't already established through the RFP any particular requirements, like the types of metrics to be used for landfill diversion or any of those types of details?
Through the chair, we have not yet. Nope, that will all be developed as we advance the plan. It will require New York State DEC review and approval along the way too. We want to ensure that our goals and our priorities are in alignment with New York State.
Okay, so I'm assuming you can't give me any additional detail like construction, deconstruction, or
Through the chair,
Organics
no,
collection.
I would expect certainly organics, food waste diversion as being a very popular topic. Certainly C&D is a very popular topic as it is in the current plan, green procurement, again, recycling, a program in public education, as well as, again, food waste diversion and waste reduction.
Okay, so one last question for me, I guess. In the development of this plan has to comply with other state initiatives and laws, would I then understand that there's some requirement for this plan to take into consider the food scraps and recycling law?
Through the chair, I expect that it would. Again, this is a requirement from New York State, and it's a plan that is intended to align with New York State priorities. And it's subject to New York State DEC a review and approval, and certainly is a foundation for any future grants that we would want to pursue.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0342, authorized contract with Colliers Engineering and Design Architecture, Landscape Architecture Surveying, CTPC Fisher Associates, PELSLA DPC, Labella Associates, DPC, and Wendell WD Architecture, Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture, PC for Geographic Information System Term Services.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0344, classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the AIDS Remembrance Garden rehabilitation.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0345, acceptance of a grant from the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York, amend the 2025 to 2030 capital improvement program and the 2025 capital budget to add a project entitled AIDS Remembrance Garden Rehabilitation and authorize financing for the project.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What's the anticipated timeline for the project?
Through the chair. Once this referral moves through the legislature, we will work with our term consultant and the steering committee to develop a schematic design for the renovations at this location. At the earliest, this would be second quarter 2027.
Thank you.
Legislator Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the administration. What's the total estimated cost for this project?
Through the chair, $250,000.
Also, again, Madam Chair, through you to the administration. So the DASNY grant would cover the entire cost of the project? Great news. Thank you. I yield.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0346, classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for Seneca Park recreational access improvements.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0347, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, amend the 2025-2030 capital improvement program and the 2025 capital budget to add a project entitled Seneca Park Recreational Access Improvements and authorize financing for the project.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator Morse.
Through you to the administration, some questions, or is this grant 100% funded?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Anything else? Oh, yes, legislator McInerney.
Through the chair, when is this project expected to be completed?
Similar to the former project at Highland Park, we will onboard our term consultants and move through schematic design. At the earliest, this would be Q2, Q3, 2027.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0348, classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the co-location of radio communications equipment onto existing towers located in the town of Greece, city of Rochester, and town of Webster.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0349, classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the Ames Building expansion located in the town of Brighton.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0350, classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the proposed Northeast Quadrant Landfill Cap Improvements Project in the town of Penfield.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? So to the administration, will we what precautionary measures are we taking to address potential odors?
To you, Madam Chair, obviously odors are important component of this project that we manage and minimize. Obviously, we want to be good neighbors to those residents that live near the former Glory Drive landfill in East Penfield. To do that, we're going to minimize disturbance of the waste mass. As you know, the waste was placed over 45 years ago, so we want to minimize any disturbance to that during construction.
Great, thank you. Do you know, in the design, will we be installing piping to direct leachate to the wastewater treatment system, or are we expecting to anticipate to continue to have to pump the leachate?
To you, Madam Chair, the distance is significant in terms of where the landfill is located. versus the closest available public sewer. We've looked at that in the past. It was cost prohibitive based on the volume.
Mhm.
So I expect we will continue to haul leachate that's collected. Again, we expect over time that will go down. Again, we want to minimize the generation of leachate.
But yes, and understood the new cap should prevent water infiltration, should reduce volume. Do we don't yet have any estimates of the reduction in volume anticipated?
To you, Madam Chair, no, we don't yet. In some areas, we are going to pick up areas where we don't presently have leachate collection. So we could see an increase in areas where we install leachate collection piping, which is what we want to do. We want to get that leachate out of there, but we want to minimize the generation of leachate from rainfall through a cap that rainfall's infiltrating at a pretty high rate currently.
Great. And last question, considering how successful the Millseed solar field is for generating revenue for the county, are we considering installing solar on top of this new cap?
To you, Madam Chair, as you may recall, we do have a solar field to the west of the landfill, former landfill, and we also have a comparable solar installation out at the Northwest Quadrant Water Resource Recovery Facility. Pretty significant. We generate about 13 megawatts of power between both of those locations. We currently do not have plans to install solar on top of the Gloria Drive landfill. Again, we do have residents in the area. We want to be mindful of that as well too. But we do not have plans to install a solar field on top of the cap. And we also want to protect the integrity of the cap as well too, and that we have direct access for our groundwater monitoring.
Well, I hope we can revisit that discussion another time. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0352, authorize a license and operating agreement with Sutter's Marine, Inc. for the operation and maintenance of the marina at Arundequoit Bay Park West.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Yeah, legislator.
Through you, Madam Chair, to the administration, what's the amount of revenue generated to the county for this?
Through the chair, they will pay annual rent of $60,000 in monthly installments for the first term. The second term would be $66,000, and the third term would be $72,000. In addition, the county will also receive 3% of the annual gross sales from all operations and concessions.
Thank you. I yield.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
25-0376, authorize a contract with Labella Associates, DPC, for stormwater planning and engineering term services.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Bonnet, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the November 24th, 2025 meeting in the Environment and Public Works Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting in the Environment and Public Works Committee will be held on Monday, December 15th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m.